I think my girlfriend is in love with her best friend and that she just settled for me.
You never want to have someone settle
Unless
they're a gold digger and they're like trying to have the gold settle.
True.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Well, yeah, less for cash. Settle for cash and cash alone.
Yeah. Sorry for the long post. I didn't realize how much I had to say until I got it all typed out. Thanks in advance to anyone who reads all of this. I've been with my girlfriend, Jordan, for a little over 2 years. We live together and we have 2 cats. And up until this weekend, I genuinely thought that everything was perfect in our relationship. Classic mistake.
idiot.
Welcome to Reddit.
How would you think that?
Which I know is what everyone says in these posts, but I was really thinking that I was going to ask her to marry me sometime in the next year.
Loser.
Oh.
Who would ever do that?
Yeah, right?
Come on.
Not anyone sitting in the producer chair. We don't ever get into these arguments. Jordan is very sweet and easygoing, and normally we just mesh well on everything. Honestly, if everything in our relationship hasn't been so good up to this point, I probably would have just broken up with her this weekend on the spot.
On the spot.
But because things have truly been so perfect, I'm not sure if I may be jumping to the wrong conclusion about what to do because my feelings got so hurt. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Lavender on the BORUpdates subreddit. The other person who's important in this story is Jordan's friend, Mark.
Okay.
I see you in the comments.
I see you. Mark's about to make his mark
Ooh.
on Jordan.
Great.
Hey, yo.
Opie says she's known the best friend Mark for their whole lives because they both grew up in the same small religious community. Jordan isn't a part of that religion anymore. She decided to leave the church when she was, I think, 19 and moved to the state that we live in now. Mark still is in the religion and apparently takes it very seriously. I am told he now works for the church back in Jordan's hometown. Also, as far as I know, Mark is the only person from the religious community that Jordan still talks with besides her parents, which I'm mentioning because I now think it could be a red flag.
Uh-oh. I mean, it seems like they have so much in common. They're all part of the same religion.
They get on their knees for the same reason.
They've known each other for so long, you know. Got a little bit of holy water sprinkle on both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just doused.
Super holy.
So on Saturday, I met Mark for the first time because he was in our city and Jordan wanted us all to have dinner together. Now, at this point, I wanted to say, I will admit that when we were first dating and I found out that Jordan had a best friend who was a guy, I didn't really like it, especially because it seemed like they were on FaceTime with each other a lot.
Just be in a relationship.
You remember that, Riley, was the story we read a few days ago where it was like, oh, yeah, they were just like holding hands and sharing each other's hoodies and living together, but they were just best friends,
God.
you know, kissing friend kisses on the cheek, you know, calling each other babe and sweetheart.
Oh, yeah, that one was wild.
Yeah.
Quick, okay, story time. I have a friend that was dating a girl. She moved away and moved in with her friend that they both knew. Yeah. It's a guy. And then they went on a break and they kind of were like, oh, we're not going to hook up with anyone that we know. And he was always suspicious of this other guy that she was living with. They started hooking up and now we're in a relationship. And now she's writing songs about how like this is like the love of her life and stuff.
We were on a break.
Sucks.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Since it was a childhood friend, they mostly didn't see each other in person. And I just trusted Jordan that Mark was only a friend and didn't let it bother me. And eventually I got over it. So when we were going to dinner, I wasn't jealous or suspicious of Mark at all, like a lot of time had passed since then. If anything, I was somewhat excited to finally be meeting him since I've been hearing about him for 2 years. But the way Jordan and Mark acted at dinner is what convinced me that there's something going on there other than just being best friends.
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? Maybe they just started kissing at the table.
Yeah. They just started making out.
I'm like, no, this is just like our secret handshake.
Well, that's what's crazy.
We do it with our tongues.
The other story we read, he's like, yeah, they were like kissing each other and cheating, calling each other sweetheart and babe, but like, I don't know. Like, is it wrong? Am I the a-hole for being mad? And it's like, dude, yes.
It's just our kooky little way of communicating.
It's quirky, a little lickety random. Now, I honestly don't even know how to describe it, except to say that I've never seen two people act more obviously like they were in love with each other. They literally would not stop touching each other. Ooh, I mean, that's a big one. They were constantly touching each other's arms and shoulders, and at some points, they were actually even holding hands. Friendship hand holding.
Friendship hands.
Yeah, that's their
Friendship
secret
hands.
handshake.
I hold all my friends' hands.
Yeah, exactly. But they completely left me out of the conversation and were laughing about inside jokes. And every time they'd laugh, they'd do this thing where they'd put their foreheads together. Or that was when they'd just be holding hands.
Anything that has anything to do with the forehead is too intimate, and that is boyfriend-girlfriend territory.
That's what Riley said. And really, someone that we mutually know has really run with that thing that you said. And is
Trying to just go forehead to forehead with people.
Well, yeah. Riley said forehead kisses are exclusive for a relationship.
It's basically like I will protect you for any cost, and nothing bad will happen to you. You were doing that when you kissed someone on the forehead.
I had no idea. I mean, someone who isn't me had no idea.
Also, they were just looking at each other in a way that I didn't feel comfortable with at all. It was honestly even worse than the touching. It wasn't just how anyone would look at somebody they're supposedly just friends with. I'm 100% sure that every stranger looking at our table thought that Jordan and Mark were the couple and I was her brother or something. Dude, not even her friend or brother. It's crazy.
Oh, that's horrible.
I felt like a third wheel the whole time, and Jordan didn't even notice how awkward she was making it for me because she was way too focused on Mark and all the attention that she was getting from him. And that's not really like Jordan at all. Usually she's a lot more considerate and would notice immediately if I wasn't having a good time or if she was accidentally being rude and excluding someone at the table.
Yeah, but she's got to pay attention to her boyfriend. She hasn't seen him in a while.
There's her boyfriend and the love of her life.
Dude, don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband.
Exactly.
That's so true.
That's
I
what
agree
all
with
the
that.
rom-coms say. Shut up, Riley.
Shut the up, Donnie.
I agree with that.
Dude. All these rom-coms are encouraging people to get
cheat.
with someone else's partner.
Yeah.
True.
That's what they all
If
say.
it's true love.
Someone goes to your girl and they're like, I'm going to fight for true love and I'm going to fight to be with you. You're like, yeah, that's cool. See? Told you.
I'm the
Anyways.
rom-com here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm the sweet southern boy. Or this is our rom-com. I'm the sweet southern boy from the South. She's a city gal, suburbs gal. That's our rom-com.
But there's no cheating, so they won't make a movie about it. Apparently, there needs to be cheating involved. It was genuinely really jarring to be sitting there with her and Mark and basically feeling like I didn't know my girlfriend at all. It was like he turned her into a completely different person who didn't even care.
Yeah, dude. She was like happy for once.
Right? Exactly. Who didn't even care that I was alive. Yoinks. Hope he's ready to die. So finally at one point when Jordan got up to go to the bathroom, I just said to Mark, so are you into my girl or what's going on here? Mark said, nothing's going on at all. That ship sailed a long time ago.
But I've been paddling after it.
Row!
I've been chasing that ship. It's my white whale.
Well, the seven
Black
seas
Pearl.
haven't stopped me. Sam, do you want to read this with me?
Sure, yeah.
So I'll be OP, you be Mark, right? What does that mean? Did you guys date at some point?
Nah, bro. We never did. And when she left the church, we both knew it meant that we were never going to. And we've accepted being in each other's lives just as friends. There's nothing else going on. At all.
See, like that makes it sound like the only reason that you're not together is because she left the church. You know what I mean? Oh, well, sorry, my line. Well, what if she came back to the church? Would you marry her?
Oh, God.
She's not going to do that. You don't have to worry about that, bro. You might as well ask what would happen if a bicycle had 6 tires. You can ask me. I'm trying to build it.
Yeah, right.
Just like I'm trying to get
I
your
have a bicycle
girlfriend
factory.
back in the church.
Oh my God. And so then when Jordan came back to the table, Mark said to her, OP wants to know if we'd be married if you weren't a godless heathen. Yeah.
Oh, why? Did you two call your mom while I was gone?
And then she and Mark just both started laughing about it and changed the subject.
Another freaking inside joke that OP's not in on.
Yes. He's like he's coded saying that to OP like, oh, as soon as I get her, but he's like, oh,
as
don't
soon
worry.
as she's in the church, like we're banging.
It's over.
But like she's just not gonna enter. But like, dude, as soon as she gets in, all bets are off.
my
I'm on
mark
that
on.
6-wheeled bicycle.
Because of the dinner and that conversation and everything else that I've written about in this post, I really feel like Jordan and Mark are in love with each other, and they're not just best friends like they say, and the only reason they aren't together is because they can't compromise about their religion. I think that Jordan thinks that's okay because she's okay with that decision. She expects me to be okay with being a second choice, and in the meantime, she's actually secretly waiting to be with Mark. So that makes me think that I should probably, obviously, just have the self-respect and break up with her because I shouldn't be in a relationship with someone who would rather be with someone else.
Dude, he's all up in his head.
Dude, he is. I mean, they're obviously super into each other. They're
What
so
it seems
into
like.
each other.
And we'll talk about this more later at the first break, but I think OP needs to confront her about it. He needs to talk to her about it.
And so basically, Mark would be with Jordan if she was in the church. And Jordan wants to be with Mark, but she doesn't want to be in the church.
Correct. She's left the church. She's like, I'm done.
Yeah, dude.
A while ago.
Well, just know, like, outside of church, you're her number one. But as soon as you step in that church,
Once the Lord gets it
once
hot
the
and heavy.
Lord is looking, her and Mark start cooking.
But then the problem for me is that our relationship has been so perfect and Jordan has always treated me so well except for this one night. The only time she's ever acted like this on the one occasion that Mark was around in person, normally even when she's talking to him all the time, she's never made me feel this way. Because remember, they had all these FaceTimes and all this stuff, right? So on the one hand, I'm wondering if maybe it doesn't matter what Jordan's feelings are for Mark, as long as he isn't going to be around, it doesn't actually affect our relationship.
Yeah.
So maybe I just need to cool off and go back to trusting her that they are indeed friends, even if it seems that that's true and that they have complicated feelings for each other. Or should I just end things? And we have some relevant comments, but let's take this talk real quick.
I mean,
a lot
it is
more,
tricky.
A lot more updates.
It is tricky because it's like, this is one day and the relationship has been great otherwise.
Yeah.
But I think seeing that, I would be like,
I think OP,
I'd be like,
OP needs to sit down with her and be like, hey, this is just what I'm seeing and I'm feeling. I see and feel that you do still have feelings for Mark, and you probably would have a relationship with him if it weren't for the church. And like, that's something that I don't know if I can get over.
And also, it's not this one night. OP, this is an ongoing offense. Like this is happening. You're only seeing it when you see both of them together, and like you're witnessing it.
I do believe it is possible that she is genuinely like convinced herself that like, oh, like I've accepted, kind of like what OP said. She's like, oh, I've accepted this, but it's like a thing that OP needs to actually think through and be okay with. You know what I mean?
It's just
According to
hard when
OP.
you see your girlfriend vibing with someone else more than you.
Yeah.
Not fun. Would you break up?
I think like OP said, it's like, okay, I have to like, first you have to have a conversation. Then you have to ask yourself, okay, if this is really, you know, this is what I'm seeing, am I okay with this? And I don't know if I would be okay with that.
I wouldn't be okay with it. I don't think. I would say like, hey, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit.
Yeah, you have to say that. Yeah.
You have to say, and like, we got to put up some emotional boundaries here because this is not, I think, how you talk to just a friend. I feel like there is intimacy here, and I think it just makes me insecure about the longevity of our relationship when it feels like this is like the person that you would have been with if you were in the church. So I feel like there has to be some limit on this relationship, but I also feel bad about like cutting that person off from like one of their best friends.
Yeah, I don't think you can do, I think for now it's just communicating how you feel and also trying to get to the root of like, do you not see this,
as an
dynamic.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that alone, the fact that they just view it so differently and they can't get alignment on that alone could be the reason for.
Yeah, I don't think I would break up immediately, but like I'm on my road.
We're on the path.
I'm on that 6-wheel bicycle.
Merge into the interstate.
I've had a conversation with someone before where like I was in like emotional cheating territory where like I was having some hardship and I was talking to like a friend that was a girl and she had a conversation where like, this is just between you and I. This isn't like with someone. So I think like that boundary would be fair.
Yeah, because there is a world where maybe OP's misreading it. I think talking needs to happen. Speaking of which, the relevant comments are talking to OP. So Ribby Chalsky says, what did Jordan say about all this when the two of you got home and had a private discussion? OP said, we didn't talk about it again. I've just been trying to weigh things out on my own for the last few days. I wasn't sure how I should try to talk to her about it or if that was the best idea. And there were comments on how inappropriate the girlfriend's behavior was. AlleyCat222 says, I may get some hate for this, but I am a female whose best friend is a guy, and I don't even do more than give him a quick hug before we part after hanging out. That may be just me, but I couldn't imagine holding hands and touching foreheads together, especially if my significant other is there if I had one. How does growing up with someone equate to needing to hold hands and touching forearms, etc.? To me, that comes off as disrespectful. Now, having said that, though, I do believe the best thing to do is to talk with her. Agreed. Ignoring it won't get you anywhere, and I admit that the way that I may view things doesn't mean that's the way she viewed it or necessarily was trying to make it flirtatious either. The only way to work through these things in a relationship is letting your partner know how you feel in situations. If you don't discuss things that you might be feeling uncomfortable with, you won't have a good continual foundation for your relationship otherwise. I wish you all the best and hope you can work things out. I heard something recently that was really good. You know how they say like where I see the color red, you see the color purple, like maybe have different colors. That's like a good analogy, I feel like, for things in a relationship, because people might have people almost always will have different definitions, even if slightly, for different things. Like, what is the right behavior when engaging with a person you could be attracted to? And like, you need to like sit down and, like Helena Bain says, talk, all caps, because you need to figure out what those things are. And clearly she's, violating OP's boundaries, but she doesn't know what those boundaries are. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we need to
give her the opportunity to treat you right.
Yes, that's a great. Give her the opportunity to treat you right. Sam 2024. That's a banger right there. So Sidri comments, she's obviously carrying a torch that will never go out. If you knowing you're a runner-up is something you could live with, give it a shot. Hey, listen, second place is still second place.
Oh my God.
You still get on the podium at the Olympics. That's all I'm saying. But 2 years isn't long, and there's a lot of years left. If something changes and a later opportunity opens up, she'd go running. Opie says, that's the big thing that scares me, because I do think that I could maybe live with the fact that there was someone else before me and that she eventually did choose me over him. But then I think about what could happen if Mark decided that he was ever going to leave the church like Jordan did. We didn't even think about that. What if he leaves the church to be with her? Which
it sounds like
very possible.
Yeah.
Right? Which doesn't seem like it's going to happen from the way they both talk about it. But then I know that I'm a different person now at 29 than I was at 26. So it is not impossible for him to change his mind. And then if that was really the only reason that Jordan was with me, of course she'd leave to go be with him like she always wanted to. Now we have our first update of many. It's a big, long, juicy story. It's 2 days later.
Ooh.
Do we have any predictions as to what's going to happen in this first update?
If I was to predict, I think they break up. But I do think they need to talk.
I think that they talk, and I don't know if they break up in this update. We've got a lot to go. But I think that she'll try to downplay it and be like, oh, it's not that serious. And Opie's like, hey, like, this really bothers me. But she's like, no, like, it's just friendship. I'm never going back to the church. He's staying in the church. Like, just don't worry about it. Like,
well, I think the behavior needs to change for this to be okay. Like, it's okay to have had feelings for someone. It's okay to be friends with like the opposite gender, but it's not okay to have feelings, act in those feelings, and
hold hands and
hold hands and touch
foreheads.
foreheads.
Can they hug?
They can hug.
Side hug.
Could she
That you had
hug his special member with her other parts?
No.
No?
No.
No
But
special hug?
No,
spicy hugs?
no feeding each other food. Don't like that.
No touching shoulders.
No
lingering.
touching chest or arms.
Well, guys, are we ready for this first update?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's do it.
goodness.
Ooh, let's do it. So I talked to Jordan Wednesday night.
Oh.
The TLDR update to the situation is that I didn't break up with her. After we talked about everything, I feel like that would be too much of an overreaction for what's actually going on. I still do think that I was right to be upset about what I saw happening at dinner on Saturday. And Jordan didn't disagree with me about that. Good. But I think I did jump to the wrong conclusion that it meant she was secretly wanting to be with Mark more than she wants to be with me. Now that we've talked about it, I don't think there's a reason to end what's otherwise the best relationship I've ever had. And I'm glad that I didn't just immediately trust my instincts, because there was more going on with the situation that I didn't really understand that Jordan has since told me. Like that they're just in love with each other.
Is Mark not playing on the same team as OP?
That could be it. Which
I
Which
think
would
the
be
parents
in the
are in
religious-
cahoots.
Yeah.
church.
Maybe he's trying to be a monk or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm,
I think the
we'll see.
parents are in cahoots.
Ooh,
'Cause she said-
great theory.
Did you talk to your moms again?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a really, really, really good conspiracy theory. I think that
'Cause-
could be it.
Okay, imagine they live in the same hometown still and their moms are there. Think about holidays, dude.
They're like, we got to get married together. What's happening?
Mm.
Let's
got
watch.
We got this OP in the mix.
Collusion.
And now I do feel like she can be given some grace in the situation, assuming nothing like this ever happens again. So thanks for the advice, especially for everyone who told me to just talk to her before I
We
make
got
this big decision.
Wait, there's no specifics.
Nope, nothing,
What?
nothing.
BS.
She told me the things I didn't know.
Tell me.
We don't know.
Tell me.
Come on, you can't be doing this with a Reddit post.
Oh, come on.
She told me about niche industry, and then after that, I felt great.
I'm pissed.
When we talked, I decided to take the main piece of advice that I got from everyone and start by telling Jordan that my feelings were hurt by the way that she treated me at dinner with Mark, which I think is a good move, and then see how the conversation went from there. It turned into a very long talk, so I don't want to try to remember exact quotes and get them wrong, but here are the important things.
Okay.
I repeated to Jordan some of what I wrote in the post and said I felt excluded by her and Mark, especially because they were being overly touchy-feely with each other to the point where it made me uncomfortable. Jordan seemed surprised, like she didn't even notice, and that she and Mark were touching each other that much, but then she thought about it and she said that I was right and apologized.
Nice.
Nice.
She said that Mark is always really touchy with everybody and not just her. I asked. Yeah, he touches everybody.
Oh yeah, he never touched me.
Pause.
We were in the bathroom together, stall to stall. He didn't even
He just
make a
looked.
motion.
Yeah, right. Longingly. And so she didn't even think about it, but that she wished I would have said something at the time because she didn't realize they were being that obnoxious, which, I don't know, that's a lot.
You had a long talk. You can't just say, "Hey, can you come over here?" and then have a long talk while he's there.
Yeah. I feel like it's
a lot in the
unfair to
moment.
say. Yeah, he couldn't have said something in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, he could have, but that's a
Well,
large.
it's more whack. It's like stop
Yeah.
talking. He already kind of did do the stop talking
Yeah.
to my girlfriend, and it's kind of like a whack. It feels it's like an insecure move for a guy to be like, stop talking to my girlfriend.
lose scenario.
Yeah, because it's like ideally the girlfriend should be enforcing the boundaries and not you shouldn't have to have or whatever partner like your partner should enforce the boundaries. You shouldn't have to, and when you like feel like you have to, then that's like it just makes you look insecure and
Exactly.
it's just a whack.
You can't win. You can't win.
You can't win.
I said that was part of what bothered me because I thought that normally she would have noticed something like that, but she was acting so different around Mark and not paying any attention to anything else, including how I was feeling, and that it was honestly just made me question which one of us she cared about more, or if she cared about him as more than just a friend. Jordan apologized more and said that she could understand why it would look that way to me, but that she loves me and cares about me more than anyone else in the world, and that she didn't mean to act like that or make me feel that way. You see, it's just that Mark is out of this world. Got him. She said that she was trying to not make Mark feel like a third wheel because of him being a single guy with a couple, but obviously it backfired.
Man, she did a great job.
Yeah, she did a great
Killed that.
job. She made me feel like the third wheel. And just made me feel like the third wheel. There you go. Instead, which wasn't what she wanted either. After that, Jordan explained a lot to me about her history with Mark. And basically, as she explained it, she said that she fully admits she cares about him as more than just a normal friend, but she says it's not in a romantic way. She said that's why she's always specifically refers to him as her best friend, quote unquote, and not just her friend. And said that she would use the phrase, he's like my brother, if there's a washing machine involved.
We haven't heard that before. He's like a brother to me.
Dude.
There's a whole thing on TikTok of like, he's like a brother to me, and then they do like,
Yeah.
he carries her or something.
Yeah, she like piggybacks.
Yeah,
and all this
piggybacks.
stuff,
She's like
dude.
a brother to me.
The running jump hug.
Oh yeah,
Dude. Now, if it weren't for the fact that she once had an actual brother, rest in peace, so her brother passed away, so she wouldn't use that as a phrasing for anyone else. According to Jordan, the main thing that happened to make her and Mark so close was that when she was 17, she tried to take her own life, and that was actually when everyone else in the community stopped talking to her, and Mark was the only person who didn't. For the next couple of years, until she moved, he was literally her only friend, she said, that checked in on her every single day to make sure that she stayed alive, which is also why they got into the habit of talking on the phone so much. And also, apparently during that time, Mark's parents thought that they were dating and made a big deal about how they shouldn't be, and that's why she made the remark during dinner. Apparently, calling Jordan a godless heathen is something that Mark's mom said.
Oh,
But
so
again,
many inside jokes.
Just explain it. God. Anyways.
How many inside jokes can you have with another person before it's a body?
Ooh, that's a golden rule.
Mm.
Where's the limit of inside jokes?
I don't think there's a limit.
But you got to explain
Come
it, right?
on.
I don't think there's
Once
a
you
limit.
have a certain amount of inside jokes with someone, you're basically inside of them. Am I wrong?
Great wordplay. A plus for wordplay.
I don't think so. I think it's rude to, if you're in a group of people, to make too many inside jokes that other people can't understand.
100 inside jokes.
It's rude.
Inside jokes.
You can have as many inside jokes as you want.
1,000.
You just can't. You shouldn't. It's rude to do them all in front of other people.
You know what? I might be on Riley with this one. I think there is a limit. I think there might be a limit.
You can have
It's like the orange peel test. It's an indicator that
you
Yeah.
can have as many inside jokes as you
Well,
want.
if you have a lot of inside jokes with someone and you have a significant other, why are you spending that much time with that person?
Maybe they can't have more inside jokes than you.
So less than
I think
theory.
you have as many inside jokes as you want.
I think there's it's a large number, but I think there is a limit.
I don't think
If
there's
we're
a
in
limit.
Sam's golden rule type territory.
There's no limit. There's no limit.
Oh
Well,
my goodness.
Opie goes on to say, I did tell Jordan that Mark basically said to me that he thought the two of them would be married if she stayed in the church. And I asked her if she thinks that if maybe Mark is in love with her, even if she doesn't feel the same way.
Oh no, what?
So she said,
Oh no.
definitely not.
Oh.
And I don't think she was being dishonest. I really don't agree with her, but I think she genuinely believes that Mark isn't into her in any way apart from a friendship. So Mark still totally could have feelings, but he genuinely believes that in her mind that's not the case. Her opinion of the situation is that she also thinks that she and Mark would eventually have gotten married if she had never left the church or moved, but from her perspective, it would have been more because of her peer pressure than anything else, and she doesn't think it would necessarily have been a good thing. Low-key, like love marriage versus like arranged marriage,
Right.
almost type vibes is what I'm getting here. She thinks Mark was just being honest about that, and that possibly from his perspective, he thinks he and Jordan would have made a good couple, but he probably is thinking that because he's just assuming that in the scenario that she'd be the perfect church wife, so there's no reason why they'd be a good couple, which I could get that if he explained it that way. He didn't explain it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the big thing that happened at the end of the conversation is that Jordan told me that Mark is coming back through our city on his way home from the trip, So she was going to invite him to hang out with the two of us again, but she said that if I'm going to be uncomfortable with him around, that she won't ask him. I thought she was going to say, if you're uncomfortable, then we'll go just the two of us.
Just don't. I mean,
This is good. This is
Just-
good progress.
yeah.
Make
at least
progress.
they're talking, but it's just
Yeah.
it's like kind of red flags. I've seen people distance over much less.
Yeah.
Much less.
Yeah.
I would invite like a friend that's in the church, so it's like a double date,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you could be all touchy feely with her and not
Yeah.
your girlfriend.
There we go. Now, a lot of people were saying that if she didn't offer to cut contact with him or to cut down on contact with him, it meant that she valued him over me. So the fact that she brought up on her own that she wouldn't invite him to dinner with us again because I didn't like it seemed like a really good sign to me. Based on everything else that she said, I do understand why she didn't offer to totally stop being friends with him, and I wouldn't expect her to after what she told me what happened when she was a teenager. So now I'm deciding to take Jordan's word for it that although she and Mark are weirdly close, it's for the reasons that she explained to me and not because she is in love with him. I think the fact that she was immediately apologetic instead of defensive was good, and the way she explained everything did make sense to me.
That makes sense to me.
I don't necessarily trust Mark, but I do think I can trust Jordan, my partner. But I am going to watch and see if if it seems like she's still talking to him as much as she used to, or if anything changes or sounds different. I'm not going to be controlling and tell her that she can't talk to him or that she has to talk to him less. But I want to see if me talking to her about all of this causes her to act at all any differently. I'm kind of thinking that she might realize on her own that the way Mark acts towards her actually does seem like he likes her as more than a friend now that I've brought it up. But I don't know. It could be that things go back to just exactly the way they were before, and I won't know if anything has actually changed until the next time Mark is around in person. But I don't think that's something I should keep worrying about before it happens.
Agreed.
There's an update 2.5 months later.
Ooh.
That's T there. But what are we feeling? Update. How are we feeling?
If something smells stinky, it usually is. So I think there's a little stink here.
Little stink.
It is good that she's offering to not go to the fish market anymore.
Yeah.
You know, not subject OP to the stink.
Need some beef.
So yes, I think while there is stink, I think she is taking the necessary moves to Febreze the stink away.
She's going in the right direction.
She's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
If she was like not going to change any of her behavior, then that would be going in the wrong direction.
Yes.
I think like creating some ground rules of what it looks like to engage in a way that makes OP feel comfortable is good. But like we've said before, it's like you can create specific rules for it, but there's always going to be ways to be in the rules but not actually abide by the spirit of the rules.
Yes.
And so
It's always a loophole.
Yeah, so you have to like create the rules and then see is she following the spirit of the rule?
Yes. Yeah.
And you know that it'll be kind of up to your interpretation.
Do you believe that she genuinely thinks like she doesn't have feelings for him and he doesn't have feelings
I think
for her?
potentially, but it doesn't make it any less damaging to the relationship. Or like if she
Doesn't change Mark's.
this chick's Mark's
intentions or
feelings, and also I feel like she might not even know her like own emotions herself well enough to realize that it's transgressing into dangerous territory. Something I remember talking with an ex where I'm like, hey, like I believe you that you might not have feelings for this person right now, but I think you're putting yourself in a position where you're setting yourself up for failure right now.
Yeah.
And you're not putting yourself in a position where I feel like that's going to be true for long. And so I think like it's like a similar case here. It's like don't set up your environment in a place where you're gonna fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
let me move in with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a true test.
True test.
Oh my God. Well, guys, we got some relevant comments and then our big updates. So Pixel Spartan 117 says, OP, did she actually acknowledge that the touching by her was inappropriate? I do not see how she could have not recognized how touchy they were and her lack of physical touch with you. Like many others have said, I'm not sure Jordan was being completely honest with you. Did you ask her how she would have felt in a reverse situation. If the three of you meet again and you want to think about excusing yourself to go to the bathroom or something during the meal, and instead hide and film the reaction while you are gone. Oh boy.
What?
See if Jordan changes how he interacts when you are not there. Whoa.
That's illegal.
This is a lot. I say to capture it on your phone because then you have to show it to her if you break up. If she interacts appropriately while you are gone, then she may not have gotten the message. She should also start limiting her interactions with him to phone/text because that relationship is not healthy. No significant other should have to deal with that. If you two end up getting married, it needs to be dealt with now. OP responds to that. She did acknowledge that all the touching was inappropriate. Yes, when she actually thought back on how much they were doing it and how over the top it was, she seemed embarrassed and realized, and she shouldn't have started acting like that just because Mark seems to think that it's normal. I didn't ask her how she'd feel in the reverse situation because it seemed like she got it immediately as soon as I told her how it made me feel. So it's like, hey, I don't need to twist the knife when she's already there. Specific Bag 7401 says, a lot of what you detail still sounds weird, especially the part where she still didn't want to make Mark feel left out because he was visiting with a couple, him being a single man. Quick side note, I've never had an issue with that. Like, I've always hung out with other people with my partner, and I've never been like,
Same.
Christian
literally has been around every single one of my girlfriends for a massive amount of time.
Yeah. And again, it's like the test of like, if you and your partner get along, you and your friends get along, it should mesh well. And it's just friends hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. I feel something I think that makes a relationship easier is like if everyone can hang out with each other, then you don't have to choose between like friendships and relationship. But if it's in two separate places, then you feel like you have to choose between, which is like fine too. But ideally, if they're all align, then you don't have to choose.
Yes, indeed.
But there's still like a need to have like one-on-one time with your partner.
Totally. Yeah. You can't just get third wheels 24/7.
Which my last girlfriend made very clear. She's like, we can't always hang out with Christian when we're going on dates.
But babe, we're married too.
Yeah.
Mark in no way visited with a couple. If Jordan is so empathetic, the original issue, she sure missed showing any empathy for you. I don't think you will experience much difference with the next encounter with all three of you. You're very enthusiastic to give Jordan a pass. This will continue to haunt you. You don't seem to think that you deserve to have this made right. Jordan has a very wide berth. I guess like a lot of agents. Like she has a lot of room.
She's a long leash.
Yeah, long leash. There we go. I wish you the best. You just seem to feel like you deserve so little. It's so sad. Ooh.
Dang.
OP responds to that. I do agree with you that it still sounds weird, but with some more context, I'm just more comfortable with it. Don't get me wrong. I still didn't appreciate being treated like a third wheel at dinner, and I still thought that Mark and Jordan were too handsy with each other just in general, and I'm not okay with that continuing. But if she's just being honest with me that it's not because of romantic feelings, which I think she is, being honest, then I think as long as she's willing to have boundaries from now on after, understanding that it made me uncomfortable, I don't think is as much as a red flag as I thought before.
Again, that's a big if.
It's a big if.
It's a big if.
You know,
I think the time will tell if she's actually making the adjustments needed.
Exactly. It could be okay, but we need to see. Now, in a lengthy comment, OP is asked to consider whether it's not a matter of Jordan being believable, but that he wants to believe her so strongly that he is subconsciously subverting his standards for judgment. In other words, he wants a relationship to go on so bad that he's like kind of giving her the pass, even though she might not deserve it. That's a really well thought out comment, and I appreciate you taking the time to write it. And I absolutely do understand why everyone thinks I'm just letting Jordan gaslight me. And honestly, I'd probably think the same if someone else was telling me the story, so I can't really blame everyone. But I truly don't think I'm being steered by wanting to believe her. It's hard to convey everything that happened when we talked into one post, but I'm just very sure that she was being genuine and that it convinced me that I could believe that she was just saying what she meant. It wasn't that I just stopped being objective because that was the easier thing to do. Honestly, I think it would have been easier to keep assuming that what I thought in the first place was true because honestly, it's easier for me to understand that she, has feelings for this guy, right? That she wants to be with him. I do think that Jordan's attachment to Mark is weird and probably unhealthy. And even if she doesn't think so, I think there's more than just friendship going on from his side of things. But I think Jordan is being honest that she's not in love with him and that she wants to be with me and not with him. And that was the thing that was making me question the relationship. The other stuff that I do still take issue with, I think can be worked out as long as Jordan takes seriously that she can't be acting in any way with Mark that disrespects me and our relationship, even if it's in her head, it's not in a romantic way. And from the way our talk went, I think I can trust her to do so. So again, to what Sam was saying, it's basically moving forward. We got to see how she actually acts from here. By the way, you can always act right by tapping our profile and joining our live stream every weekday at 3 p.m. PST.
We'll give you forehead kisses. Mwah.
Well, Sam will.
Mwah.
You know I will.
I, John, have a girlfriend, Fry.
Not today, tomorrow, or any other day. Guys, there's more. We're about to get into the second fat update. That's 2.5 months later.
There's
Riley tells
more?
Riley tells us there's fat.
It's good. It's really good.
It's really good. But before we get into this update,
I just feel like we don't have all the information to make a decision until we see how she, we've had the conversation, which is great. That's a starting place, but we don't know until we see the next interaction.
Yeah. We're talking about the big fight, the big game, but it has to happen to know how it's going to play out.
Exactly.
We can theorize.
All we want, but I get my bets. My bets are it's not going to go well. That's my bet.
I honestly think that Mark is going to reveal his true feelings and
leave the church,
or so, by whatever means, try to get
rope her back in,
something like that. And I think OP leaves the relationship at that point because it's too much. I can't have him in love with you.
Too hot.
Well, I apologize if this isn't right. I've never tried to post my profile on here before, but a lot of people wanted an update, so I don't think I'm allowed to post it on the original subreddit. But the situation seems pretty resolved now.
Really? I don't believe it. I think we're going to get some red flags.
After Mike and Jordan had an argument over everything, they're no longer friends.
Whoa.
Plot twist.
I think maybe there was feelings on Mark's side then.
And now he's like,
What do you mean we can't hold hands and kiss each other?
What happened was that Jordan told Mark that we weren't available to hang out when he came back through our city. He blamed me, saying that he could tell that Jordan was only saying no to hanging out because I had a problem with him. Jordan admitted that this was part of the reason and told Mark that she wanted a bit of space from him because she was trying to be respectful of our relationship.
Dude, W response from the girlfriend. W response. This is how you solve this. That would make me feel very loved.
Right?
That would make me feel loved.
And I love how she's just being completely honest, and she's like, yeah, you know what? It is part of it, but I'm trying to prioritize our relationship right now. And I feel like if Mark really is her friend, he should respect that and understand that,
I have a friend that's in a relationship and her boyfriend is, I think, insecure around me, and we don't really talk that much anymore.
Who wouldn't?
And I respect that because she's trying to prioritize the relationship.
I don't like that guy.
I mean, Sam,
Dude, he kind of sucks.
He really does. When I first got here, I was like, oh yeah, I'm meeting new people and stuff, trying to talk to girls. He's like, dude, this is what you gotta do. You gotta go to parties. And I was like, this isn't me, man.
Yeah, he kind of has he kind of has a douchey friend group.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if your girl is around Sam Surfer 6-pack Donner, it might be a reason to be afraid.
No.
So,
No. That sucks. 'Cause we were friends for like 5 years.
But you're Sam Surfer six-pack daughter.
Yeah, I'm a little salty about it, but I understand.
Mark got really offended and kept asking Jordan to explain why him being around was so disrespectful to our relationship and kept pretending to not understand her answers. And then eventually during the conversation, he started trying to guilt Jordan into making time for him and told her that she's become a worse person over the years because the Jordan he knew would never blow him off. She would just
Blow him off.
That upset Jordan a lot because she took it as Mark saying that she was a bad person since she left the church, which kind of sounds like it to me. She started crying and she ended up hanging up on him. Jordan and I talked a lot afterwards, and I told her that I thought Mark was toxic because anyone else would have been understanding of what she said. Jordan said that a lot of what he said during the conversation reminded her of being in the church, and she said that she couldn't explain it except that it was his attitude when he tried to argue with her, but that it made her really not want to talk to him, even outside of anything to do with our relationship. Mark texted her the day after asking if she really wasn't going to come see him and if she was going to pick some boyfriend over her only friend after he's been there for her through everything.
It seems like nice guy.
This seems like nice guy, and it also makes me think back to, when she was, having a mental health crisis when she was like, in her late teens, that he had ulterior motives.
Yeah, it's like you owe me now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's whack.
Jordan texted Mark back, explaining her point again and saying that their friendship couldn't be the same anymore as it used to be now that she was with someone, and that he should understand that. Yeah, again, I feel like, you, while you don't like love it, you totally understand and respect your friend's, situation. Like, I feel like that should be the response here. And this isn't even, I think this is like a way more like healthy setup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mark texted Jordan that he couldn't believe that she'd treat her best friend like that. Jordan tried to text Mark saying that a friend wouldn't be guilt tripping her, but it turned out that he had blocked her number.
Ooh.
That is so whack on Mark's part.
So whack. After that, Jordan was feeling like she'd done something wrong and was too mean to Mark, but she and I talked about it again, and she realized that she was right not to want to be friends with Mark if he's going to treat her like she owes him loyalty.
Yeah.
Jordan then blocked him back, including on all her socials, so that if later he changes his mind and tries to apologize, she can ignore him. A couple of weeks went by, and while I admit I was pretty happy about not hearing from Mark, Jordan was really bummed about how everything ended, which makes sense. He did help her out back in the day. She said that although she saw now that Mark isn't a good person to have her in her life because of his reaction to her trying to set a boundary, she still felt sad and abandoned, and it was bringing back a lot of the same feelings as when she was a teenager and her other church friends all turned their backs on her. So at this point, I asked her if she ever thought about going to therapy for religious trauma, and she said that she'd gone for a few months when she first left the church, but the therapist wasn't really that helpful. I suggested that maybe it would be a good idea to try again with a better therapist because it sounds like all this stuff still bothers her a lot. And Jordan agreed with me and decided to make an appointment. She had a couple of therapy sessions and says that so far they are good, but I don't really ask her for any details on what they talk about, so I can't really update you on that part of the situation. There are some relevant comments. Yeah, really quick, how are we feeling about how that all landed?
I mean, I think W on her part, and it kind of proves that there was something fishy, but it was more on Mark's part than OP's girlfriend. I think this is kind of a really great way to first align on what you believe to be okay behavior in a relationship. Indeed. Which they then did, because like you said, like, all right, my blue could be your red.
Yes.
Maybe she didn't really understand that there was anything wrong in this, and until OP brought it up, she's like, oh, okay, like I understand like why you might be uncomfortable with that.
And it seems like that's more the case now with everything that happened.
And she took these steps to change that and ensure that OP felt safe in the relationship. I think she did a good job.
All the right moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it is sad, and I do really feel for her that she lost a friend, but at least kind of feels like everything's where it should be in the sense that like it seems Mark had bad motives.
Yeah.
So he's now removed.
So I went through this with that friend, right?
Yeah.
And she texted me. I invited her on a run, and then she texted me and she's like, "Hey, like, I just had a talk with my boyfriend. Like, he doesn't think it's a good idea for us to like run together anymore." And I'm like, "That's okay." And I do this like philosophical discussion like once every month or something with a few friends, and she was coming to that. And I'm like, "That's okay. Like, would love to still have you at the we call them juntos." And initially she was like coming to that, and now she doesn't really come to those anymore. So I think he's just like, and like my response is like, "Hey, totally understand. If you want to, if something changes, let me know. But want you to have a thriving relationship."
You're not like, no, how
You
could you
owe
close the
this to
door?
me.
Like you owe this to me. No,
no,
making her feel, but no, not at all. It's like
No,
yeah.
it still sucks, but it's like
Exactly.
it sucks, but it's not something that you should be salty about.
This situation, these are completely different situations too. It's like they were like touching all this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You're just going on a run.
Yeah. I mean, these are also yeah. But it's like, but I think it's like they're on the same like scale, although
Yes.
at different ends.
Same bucket, different ends. So, some relevant comments. Ass IQ Tax says Mark sounds toxic at this point. He sounded iffy before, honestly, with the way he was so positive he would have been with Jordan. But this is not the way that you treat someone who is supposed to be a friend. He wants to be her number one friend. If he wants to be her number one friend, he should try to actually being a friend and listening. I assume he isn't because in his religion, the man is supposed to speak and the woman is supposed to listen. Yes, tell Jordan to try a different therapist. If the therapist isn't working for her, that means that she just has the wrong therapist. She can find a good one, and I really hope that she does. OP responds, agreed. I didn't trust Mark when I thought that he was in love with her, but seeing him be so crappy and demanding really made it clear that he is just a piece of crap. And Julia Valentine says, I've been reading these posts since it first came out, and it sucks that it had to turn out this way, but I think it's for the better. Especially the part of her trying to go back to therapy too. Does she have other new friends not related to the church that she could rely on too? Her having her own support system that is separate from you and Mark could also help her. Anyways, wishing you all the best. Jordan seems like a very lovely girl, and I'm glad you are both going strong outside of the trauma. To which OP says she does. We have a few couples that we're pretty close friends with, and she also has a bunch of friends from her work who I know, who she talks to about problems and all of that stuff.
Nice. Nicole Lynn has a great comment where it's like, a real friend would respect boundaries and want your happiness unless they feel like you are being controlled/abused. I think that's
That's it.
great
Nicole
summary.
Lynn,
Great summary.
Okay, community. They always come in clutch with that. Yeah, that is exact. As long as someone's safety and well-being is not at risk, you should be respectful of their situation.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I kind of agree with one of the commenters said. I think that it was good that it ended, though. Even though it was really tough, I think ultimately long term, even Jordan will be for the better because now she can work through the stuff through therapy. Hopefully, find friends that are like in her quest to find friends that are not like Mark, she'll find like a much, even more better friend groups.
And Mark just sounds like a possessive friend, which is not what you want in friendships. Not
at all.
You want friendships that support you and are not like jealous of other relationships that you have in your life.
Exactly. And do we think, did OP make any missteps?
I don't know if I would have done the, are you trying to come into my girl thing in the beginning? I understand why he did it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would have done that. I feel like I would talk to my girlfriend.
Talk to her in private first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say that was would you say that's kind of like a minor offense?
Very minor. Like that's, but I'm like, when asked like, all right, what would I have changed? I think that's like the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, should I have said anything? The other thing maybe is like saying it right after Mark leaves. So to like having that conversation immediately, just so it's not like stewing in your head.
Good point.
He waited a couple I think he waited a couple
a few days, yeah, at least that we know of.
Which maybe it was just like, oh, he was trying to figure out what he wanted to say. I think those are the two things that I might have changed, but other than that, I think pretty good.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of things right, and one of the things I like too is like while he made like there was the point where he was like thinking about, hey, do I confront her and be like, kind of in a more accusatory way, and then he took a step back in his like processing and reading the comments from everyone in the story and decided to lead with like, this is how I feel and this is how I felt about the situation, and I feel like him framing it that way and kind of like while he maybe his initial thought was not the 100% the right move, he always like took a beat to be thoughtful about it, and then the approach he then took was like a very good move, I thought, which I liked that process. It's like, hey, you don't have to have like the perfect moves like at every step or like right the first reaction in your brain, but like taking a beat to actually think, okay, what's the best way to approach this, and then going into it. He did a really good job of that, I would say.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think it was like good vibes.
Worked out well.
Yeah. Honestly, surprisingly, I wasn't thinking so.
Same. I mean, my prediction was terrible.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's where that story ends.
I think so.
If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.